swing it. Derek Holland.
Boom. I got you up. No Mavs, though. I can't see the score there, so we'll leave the chat. Actually, I could probably just close that one off. And just put, like, it needs to be like the Mavs logo up there. Let me just do that.
So pixelated.
What is?
Oh, wait. Better now.
I'm just putting this in there for us.
Really big.
It's shrinking.
You look like a huge human being on a small desk.
Well, I fixed the camera. It's zoomed in a little bit more, and yeah, that's all. I gotta turn the one more thing. Where's the? Nope, that's you. There we go. Might be a little too big. There. All right.
Oh,
We got Mikey B. We finished the game. This is gonna be fun because Mikey's on some NyQuil. He's feeling it.
A little bit under the weather, like stuffy nose, runny nose, scratchy throat. So went with the NyQuil about 30-40 minutes ago. And I was like, all right, that should kick in for an 11 p.m. bedtime.
Yes. Sorry, I'm trying to respond real quick.
Well, Mavs won.
Well, yeah, let's dive into that. Mavs won. That was huge. We were talking about this too right out the gate. They were freaking sharp. The first half was unbelievable. Luka putting up 20. Was it 20 or
21?
21 in the first quarter. I mean, I really didn't expect to see him at all there. I mean, in the second quarter. Sorry, and yeah.
But I'll say this, is Luka does not like Ja Morant getting compared to him. I think he likes Ja Morant a lot. I think you can tell they have a lot of respect for each other. But just yesterday, there was a whole ESPN pregame deal with Stephen A. Smith and a couple other people, and it was, is Ja Morant better than Luka? Who has a better chance of winning the MVP? And Luka puts it to Ja because he just does not like that Ja gets kind of the same hype or more hype than he gets.
I think we can go ahead and put that to rest. I mean, one, they're two different type of players anyway. That's my point of view on that. But Luka's the better shooter. Luka's got more awareness. I mean, Luka's just the all-around better guy, in my opinion. I mean, what I saw tonight live from Morant, he didn't do much. It was literally Luka was dominating, and I think that's what that was all about tonight, was showing that he's the better guy.
I agree with you. I'll tell you what the Mavs have done for about 7 quarters this year. Obviously, the fourth quarter of the first game didn't go their way defensively. Defensively, Derek, this Maverick team so far is just outstanding. Like, they're together. Their individual defense is good. Their team defense is great. So that's really – I know they scored a lot of points tonight, blew out Memphis, and they blew the game against Phoenix in the end. But overall, this team is very connected defensively right now.
Do you feel, too, from seeing how – obviously how we were with the first game against Phoenix, do you feel the same now seeing like, okay, you know what? Maybe Phoenix was just a fuck up. That's all it was. It was messed up. They should have definitely won that game, especially how they performed today.
Yes, except the NBA, just like MLB baseball, when you play this big of a season, this long of a season, there's going to be games you give away. There's going to be games where, in this situation, if you're a Memphis fan, it's crazy because it's only their third game, but they would probably say, hey, We had to work our butts off to beat Houston last night and play all 48 minutes hard to get a W in Houston. And because of that, we had no energy left for the Mavericks. But the Mavericks can't help that. I think the Mavericks came out, home opener, you were there. It seemed like the crowd was very into it from the start. Mavs fed off of that. They were upset about how they blew a game. Memphis was 2-0 coming off of playing last night, and all those things combined led to the Mavs totally destroying Memphis.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think too, like, I think we've seen a lot of how good our defense really is. Like today was a very good example of that. We saw that at the beginning of the Phoenix game. Yes, we had like the meltdown in the kind of the second half, but I still think the Mavs have a very, very strong defense. Saw a unbelievable continuation of Wood again, his second straight game. Today, I mean, he got a double-double. He was lights out again. And I do want to say this. He made his free throws. So the question I ask is, would you trade him making his free throws for his three-pointers? Because he didn't do as hot on the three-point line as he did at the free throw line.
I think making free throws in a weird way might be more important than making his threes. They all play off of each other, but if you're not going to make free throws, you're not going to be as aggressive going to the basket later in the game. And the other team's going to know if they do foul you, it's almost like a bailout. It's almost like, yeah, as long as we foul him, we still get the ball back. In best case scenario, he makes one free throw. And so in a weird way, free throws can be more important than three-pointers. At the same time, because he's such a deadly threat from three, you saw Memphis kind of wildly closing out at times, and Wood was able to then work his dribble. You know, and I don't think people know this, but he's a pretty darn good player off of the dribble in the right matchups. When he was getting guys like Steven Adams on him or a couple of the younger guys on Memphis that were bigger guys, he really has some nice ball handling skills to get to the rim himself.
Yeah, he did outstanding with the rebounds. I thought for sure, I think I even texted you about it. I thought Luka was going to get the triple-double because he was killing it too with the rebounds. You saw a lot of greatness from the Mavs today, I thought. I mean, obviously with Wood and Luka, but, you know, Dory started to get a little bit going. Obviously, Timmy did it late. I kept saying Timmy's got to keep shooting. He's going to find that stroke. He's going to be all right. He's going to get it back. I know it's a little frustrating.
Don't worry, he's going to keep shooting.
I know, and
he
did.
Never worry about that.
I thought about you too, because as soon as he would touch the ball, I was like, oh, he's shooting, and he did. So he definitely stuck to the Mike Bassett game plan of just get the ball, shoot the ball. Who was the other one? Dinwiddie. I strongly think he needs to be the starting point guard, or not starting point guard. He needs to be the guy when Luka's not out there. Because when he was out there doing that, I felt like we were in more control that way with him.
Well, Jason Kidd has said he cannot be on the basketball court. They cannot have a Mavs five-man unit in a competitive situation without Luka or Dinwiddie on the court. They just don't have another person to really run the offense and get the team a good look. So Dinwiddie, every time Luka's on the bench, Dinwiddie has to be on the court because literally in a weird way, the Mavericks have designed a team that only has one true point guard in Luka, and then one other like solid point guard in Dinwiddie, and then 13 other guys who can't play that position.
Yeah, I mean they got to find that. JaVale looked really good. I mean, obviously, kind of got in foul trouble, some dumb fouls. His alley-oop though, that was sick. And then I mean, and also Christian Wood with the alley-oop too. Pretty sure he got one as well.
Well, I'll tell you what, Derek, real quick about the fouls for McGee. And look, you don't want him to get in foul trouble, but it's not going to be that big of a deal because he's only going to play 20 minutes a night, right? Like, so it's really tough to get 6 fouls in 20 minutes. I'm sure it can happen in certain matchups, but when he got his third foul, I was like, it's not the best thing, but it's not the worst thing either because in the second half, he's only going to play 8 minutes, and so as long as he doesn't pick up 3 fouls in 8 minutes, he should be able to get his 8 minutes in. But like you said, Derek, the the Mavericks played close to perfect basketball tonight. They really never even let Memphis go on a run to make it a kind of a situation where most NBA games you're just like, oh, I'm getting a little bit nervous here. That game never even really got nervous. The Mavs never really let Memphis get on a run.
Yeah, they were hot. And I think that, to me, it kind of felt like it was a statement. Like, Luka wanted to go out and show he was the better player. Obviously, as we talked about, the schedule is going to be pretty tough with, obviously, at Phoenix game 1, Memphis game 2. Now you're going to New Orleans game 3. So, I mean, they know that the schedule is a little tough right now, so they need to show that they are a true contender.
Yeah, and I'm glad they got the win tonight and put it away, because the start of the schedule, as you talked about, New Orleans is Tuesday night. Brooklyn is Thursday night. Brooklyn, after having a horrible start to the year, looked really good last night against Toronto. And so if you can start this season, these 2 games on the road, because Brooklyn's on the road too, if you can win one of those 2 games, I'd love to win both, but if you win one of those 2, you start off 2-2.
Right.
Then the schedule gets a little bit easier for you. So I thought starting the season 2-2 would be decent. Anything better than 2-2, you're like, wow, we're off to a great start. And obviously, you had a game in Phoenix. Obviously, we talked about that during the whole game. They just ended up not making their free throws, had bad defensive and offensive possessions late in the game. But this is a really good start to the year. I mean, these 2 games, you take on Phoenix, and you're beating the crap out of them for pretty much 3/4 of the game. You just beat the crap out of Memphis. And so now you get to go to New Orleans Tuesday, and that should be a great matchup.
Yes, I think that's another one too. We're gonna see what Zion's all about. See if this is actually true of what they're saying. He's in better shape, all that nonsense. Let's find out. And 2, I mean, I just want to see how they do with that. I want to see how the big men do with Zion down low too.
Yeah, and that'll be interesting because Zion's so different, man. He just bullies his way to the basket. And really, there's no human being, it seems like, in the NBA who can stop that. What you want to make him is a perimeter player. And so you want to make him be able to try to take 10 to 15 to 20-foot jumpers. If you do that and he makes them, there's nothing you can do. But that's the way to kind of slow down Zion. And, McGee has the length to really affect him in the paint. So it will be interesting. And he's just one of those guys that if he's completely healthy, they have a really good team. They're not very deep. I watched New Orleans the other night. Their starting 5 is tremendous. Arguably, when healthy, the best starting 5 in the NBA. But after you get past their starting 5, their bench, to me, is pretty darn weak.
And I do want to say, too, after what we talked about with the Mavs, the size is making a difference with these guys. It's very noticeable, I think, with especially seeing it against Memphis. I thought what Memphis was trying to do out the beginning was trying to be fast-paced, see if we can wear down the Mavs, see if we can tire them out, and it backfired. The Mavs were responding and just making everything. Luka was just pretty much it was Luka, I should say, was the only one responding because he's the only one with scoring. But they tried to wear them down. I think they tried to wear Luka down. Didn't happen. And on top of that, with Luka, we got to get him to quit pouting and sitting because it is eventually going to catch up to us because he sits down there and pouts and there's nobody down there covering somebody. So now it's 5-on-4 rather than 5-on-5.
It's amazing that you bring that up, and you texted me that, and I was literally talking to my son about that. I was like, Luka, you're too good to complain this much. I get it. Maybe you didn't get the call, but the refs don't like you because you do this, and you do this at such an early age in your career. And they're human beings. We know this from pitching, Derek. If you complain or a hitter complains all the time about the strike zone, especially early in his career, no matter how good they are, the umpires talk, and they're going to kind of test you and not give you a call here and there just to see how is he going to react. And when you act immature, they're going to do it again to you. And just Luka cannot get past that immaturity. I love him to death. He's just having a great season right now so far, 2 great games. But that complaining to the refs, luckily he didn't get teed up. There were a couple of times that I thought the ref could have teed him up. And he's got to be able to control his emotions. That's like the next step in his journey is, hey, there's going to be things that don't go your way from the referee standpoint. Let it go. It'll even out. You'll get calls later in the game. You can't complain about everything.
Yeah, you're right. That's the big factor. He's got to stop doing that. He's got to be the leader. But
And Jason Kidd talked about this last year, and it's almost like he needs a refresher course. He's playing great. This is the weird thing is Lucas had 2 great games. It's like he needs a refresher on please, please, please let some of the knick-knack calls go. Like to start the game, it was 4-2. And the ball, you were at the game, so you might have not seen the replay. The ball did go off of Luka's forearm. It like skinned it. But Luka didn't feel it or didn't think that it went off of him last. And he's screaming at our bench, review it, review it. And it's like, dude, it is 4-2 with 46 minutes left in the game. We're not reviewing a call.
Don't waste it.
46 minutes left and losing our challenge. Relax. It's okay. It's going to be okay.
Yeah, that happens. But now we move on. We go forward to take on New Orleans. You said Tuesday night, correct?
It's on TNT. It's a nationally televised game. It's the early game, so it's a 6:30 tip.
6:30, so 5:30. Wait, 6:30 our time?
6:30 our time.
Okay, so 6:30 our time. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have the update. I'll be watching the game, but I'm also participating in some flag football, so we may not get to talk about this one. It's a possibility. So yeah, I got to be the quarterback. I'm out there throwing it, but we'll keep everybody posted. Mike, any final thoughts before we take off for today's game?
I thought it was a great all-around game. I'll tell you what, you mentioned it. The size of the Mavs, at one point, Memphis went with a 3-guard lineup. So they had Ja at 6'3", Bane at like 6'4", and then Tyrus Jones at like 6'1", maybe. And our smallest guy on the court was either Reggie Bullock or I guess Luka Doncic at 6'7", 6'8". I was like, they got 3 guys here at 6'3" or under, and our smallest guy right now is 6'7". So we have a very big team, and that's, I think, making our defense very good.
And I think that's huge too. I want to say that from what again, it's very early. I know 2 games, but to see what we've seen so far from the defense, that's huge. Now all we need to do is get the guys going on the offense besides Luka and now Wood. And Dinwiddie too. He's been doing pretty good as well. I think, and I've been saying it since day one. I've obviously got his jersey on. Dorian is going to take off. He's going to get going too. Just give it a little bit of time. Hardaway's the bigger one that I think that we got to really focus on. He's taking a lot of shots. Hopefully he finds his shot with all these shots that he's doing, because he is going to be an important piece to this team. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, he's a guy who he can get on fire and win you a game by himself, because he can go 12 of 15 from the field when he gets hot. It's just games when he's not. And for Dorian Finney-Smith, I know we were texting back and forth during the game, and I'm not saying like, oh, he can't score, Derek. I'm saying that he has to work off of Luka. So, you know, when Luka finds him, he does have to make those shots. But he's not going to like Tim Hardaway Jr. Tim Hardaway Jr. is going to shot hunt, and he's going to find his shot. And when it goes in, it's amazing. But really, Dorian Finney-Smith is working in the game. You know, like they're not calling plays for him. It's just when Luka finds him, hopefully he gets that open shot and nails it.
Yes, no doubt. Well, with that being said, the Mavs now 1-1, heading off to New Orleans. Mike, thank you for staying awake with me after taking some of that NyQuil.
Yeah, you can tell I've been hitting mute so you don't hear all my coughing right now.
And I think something's going around anyway, so it's okay. But I had it earlier, to be honest. So, but for that, guys, I appreciate you all being here. We're going to continue to do this. Hopefully more games. Obviously, we'll be able to do after the game sooner. It obviously depends on me driving back because I live the farthest. But Mike, thank you so much for joining me, and let's do this again. Let's go Mavs, and nice fucking victory. Woo!
Tuesday, baby. Let's do it.
See you guys.
All right.